Action fanatics, welcome to another edition of the Bulletproof Podcast. I am your host, Chris the Brain. Joining me once again, it is the Toyman, Chris DePetrillo.
I am your Bulletproof regular here for a new on Netflix podcast here tonight. We're not going to the throwbacks. We're going to something more modern, and this should be an interesting one.
Yeah, it's always nice when we throw a modern one in there just to confuse everyone. But speaking of confused, joining us as well, it's Ryan Campbell.
The Netflix effect is in full effect, I guess, this week, Brain. But yeah, happy to be here.
Yeah, Netflix is having an influence over on bulletproofaction.com because Born a Champion, the Sean Patrick Flannery movie, joined the Netflix ranks on March 1st. And ever since then, people have been checking that review out that Chad Cruz did many years ago. So yeah, that's, you could do the same over on bulletproofaction.com. But Ryan Campbell, you're into one series. You're going to have another one coming up very soon.
That's right. We're working on Monarch right now, which has been really good. People are really liking it. It feels a little bit more like a traditional MonsterVerse movie to split into a bunch of episodes. People seem to be liking, but we got Invincible coming up for season 4, I believe the final season. I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's the final season. But yeah, season 3 was fantastic. So I'm really excited for this coming season that comes back on March 18th. And then we got some other stuff coming down the road, but that's what the main focus will be right now.
Yeah. And you can check out Ryan's Monarch coverage and be among the first to do so. All right. Toyman. He's got a No Surrender Cinema. I know he's been cooking up for a while. Something you've been wanting to get to, and you're finally going to get to it later this week.
Yeah, we're going to do something a little different for this edition of NSC. We're going to do a documentary, but it is a documentary about something that is near and dear to our bulletproof hearts, and basically was the namesake for the column No Surrender Cinema. It is the documentary about the original No Retreat, No Surrender, one of my favorite movies of all time. So it'll be great to discuss that one and break that one down. And if you like what I have to say about that, maybe go back in the archives and check out our Dale Jacoby special, the villain besides Jean-Claude Van Damme of the original movie. He talked with us a while back, and that was a great episode that we had. So go back and check that one out.
And you could check out our fellow Geekscapists over at $2 late fee, because they have an episode with Kurt McKinney and JW Fails.
That's right.
So you can check that out as well, $2 late fee.
Brandon, I'll draw your attention to that.
Please do.
If you remember, Invincible started off ridiculously slow too for season 3.
Yes.
And we were texting about just stopping, and we kept pushing forward. And then it was,
I know. Monarch could just blow up, but as of right now, not so much.
Help me out, people.
1988 Silent Assassins is one I'm going to be covering this week. What a film this was. It's one I think I've come across like in my rabbit holes, but never actually watched. It's got Sam J. Jones. It's got Linda Blair. I'm sure Toyman has a copy of it on Betamax. Yeah, I'll be covering that. Chad Cruz, who has been a busy beaver as well in Chad Cruz relation, but he will be
a beaver around Chad Cruz, Brain.
Yeah. Well, Chad will be reviewing a brand new one from our friends over at Wellgo USA, Lone Samurai. That's coming up. But let me tell you, this is already up there on the site now as you're listening to this. Mexicali. What a freaking movie that was. I reviewed it. It comes out Friday the 13th, and that's going to end up being a lucky thing for Action Fanatics, because this one has set the bar for the year, as far as I'm concerned.
Ooh, wow.
This one is
Big words, big praise.
The gauntlet has been thrown down.
We've got Brent Foster, who was great in Life After Fight, even better here. I mean, there's some more meat to this role. He's got an edge here. I was so happy to see Chris Van Damme in action. He's good. He's so good in this. Just a great film. Again, it is setting the bar. So like everything else, you got to catch up. or try to surpass Mexicali. Jesse V. Johnson is the writer. Luc LaFontaine is the director. And this thing, it's like an action dream team put this thing together. And you could tell as you watch it because it's wonderful. Wonderful film. Check out my review right now on bulletproofaction.com. And again, it comes out in select theaters and on digital this Friday, the 13th. You know what else has recently been released on physical media, gentlemen? That's right.
Another movie that was near and dear to our hearts.
Yeah, one we covered here on the podcast, The New Running Man. The New Running Man is now available to buy on 4K, DVD, Blu-ray, and digital. In this fun, high-octane thrill ride, one man turns a deadly game show into the ultimate spectacle by outrunning hunters, dismantling the system, and becoming the hero of a nation addicted to chaos. Now, if you're listening to this as this episode releases, I am drawing the winners tomorrow on March the 11th. So you got a little bit of chance to get in there if you have not already put in to win a 4K copy of The Running Man. And if you're listening to it after the fact, it's a reminder, you better check out Bulletproof Action on the regular because we're having contests all the time. There are definitely more on the way, Ryan Campbell.
Yeah, we're getting these with pretty regular cadence now, which is really cool. And it's because you guys keep showing interest and not only the podcast, but filling out the entry forms. So as long as you guys keep going for them, we'll probably keep getting them. And it's very cool. So we appreciate it.
Yeah, there's definitely interest. And yeah, sometimes it's a actual physical copy. In this case, sometimes it's digital code. So again, whatever side of that fence if you're not a physical copy person, well, there's chances for you to win something. And if you are, like the Toyman, that's right. He can't wait to get physical copies of things. So
physical.
A little Olivia Newton-John from Ryan Campbell. Who would have guessed that when they hit
Karaoke Campbell tonight on the podcast?
Yeah, when you hit play on this episode, did you expect some Olivia Newton-John from Ryan Campbell? I know I didn't. All right, guys, let's get into this week's episode. As Toyman alluded to, we are covering something brand new, just released days ago, last Friday. It is War Machine on Netflix. And this one, Ryan Campbell, I mean, obviously the trailer, I think, intrigued all of us.
I was going to say, yes. I think all of us independently came to the realization as soon as we saw the trailer, like, yep, this is a BPA written all over this one. We're going to be covering this one right away. You've got, action, of course. You've got like a little sci-fi edge to it, which had me intrigued, of course. Kind of like a little Predator, a little feel to it. So
what I felt the minute I saw it.
Checked a lot of boxes. So we all independently came to like the next session. We're like, did you guys see this trailer? And yeah, we all thought this was definitely one we'd be covering.
Chad Cruz may be the only person I think wasn't very excited about it. And that's why I was hoping he'd be able to join us. But he did not. Because Chad Cruz, let's just talk about it. I really wanted to talk to him about it, but, Chad's going to Chad. He's not an Alan Ritchson fan.
Ooh, really?
Now,
that's a bold take because it isn't like he's not like a, now I can see Glenn Powell. He's not like a Glenn Powell.
Right.
He's been given a lot of chances, some pretty high profile roles, and some have had success, but had a few flops. And some people think whatever. He hasn't really gotten that's a weird stance to take.
When we go into, like just thinking back to the history of Chad Cruz, he's not a Mark Wahlberg fan, and I could understand that. Mark Funky Bunch, right? Toyman, Funky Bunch. Running around in his underwear.
That's also what we would consider an A-lister. So I get, having polarizing opinions on an A-lister.
He's going against the grain, against the mainstream.
All right.
So it's like, okay, you don't like Marky Mark. You don't, yeah. Okay. Not a fan of Channing Tatum either, and again, Magic Mike, he was a stripper. Now you want me to believe he's like one of the most famous G.I. Joe characters of all time. I could see, again, Chad Cruz having some sort of grudge there. Then he mention, I don't think he has as much of a hatred, but Bob Odenkirk from the Nobody movies. How unbelievable it is that this little guy.
Well, that's the gimmick of it, though. That's the whole gimmick.
And he's a trained, again, I'm like, well, he's trained. And it's not like they've ever done him versus Nathan Jones or something. You know, it's like he's taken on other, like, just normal sized humans. And again, all right. And he's old. All right, fine. But again, that's not the first time.
It ain't like they're trying to pitch him as Liam Neeson. That's the gimmick of the movie.
All these things, though, you could be like, okay, Chad, I could see that. And you would think, why? You would think he'd be the one being like, we need a guy like Arnold.
He comes Stallone, on here, you know,
Dolph Lundgren. We need a guy like we had back in the day.
He comes on here and says crude things, and we rag him on that, and we rag him on being flaky. When he has legit bullshit takes that we're not going over when he is here, man, we need start writing these down, Brandon. So when he comes here, we can just drill him on his shit takes. It's just going to be a Chad Cruz interrogation. So you would think, okay, he wants like what we used to have back in the day. Well, the closest thing to that Toyman would be this freaking beast of a man, Alan Ritchson.
Who has done everything from espionage in the Reacher series to Brain. I know the first time that maybe you remember seeing him was back in the day on Smallville.
He was Aquaman.
When he was Aquaman.
Is it like Blue Mountain State? Is that why Chad doesn't buy it?
I don't know. Maybe Chad Cruz.
That was a funny show, thow. I haven't watched it in years, but I remember that being pretty entertaining when it was on Spike TV.
Yeah, we've done it. Toyman's going to be covering it for the site. Now, listen.
Essential episodes, Blue Mountain State.
I tell you, I don't know. So, I was really looking forward to Chad Cruz being here so he could perhaps explain this hatred he has for the star of the movie. And I think we would have obviously had a good time listening to his nonsense and arguing with him.
I mean, I would think that he has had a lot of opportunity. He could probably be doing a lot more than what he is. I think he's trying to be very selective and careful because he's probably been approached for a lot of stuff, and he could probably be putting a lot of slop out there if he really wanted to.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to find out exactly.
Especially after the success of Reacher.
Right. I mean, to me, Reacher is like that's his.
Yeah.
Like he is Reacher. Like that's his Rocky.
Oh, my dad loves him some Reacher. I had to go.
It's excellent.
I had to go over his house this week to help him get signed back into his Netflix that he somehow lost all his shit for. So that he could watch War Machine.
That's not gonna. Okay, War Machine. Okay, I was gonna say Netflix won't help him with Reacher, but all right. But yeah, he's the star here, and we're gonna see him right off the bat in Kandahar, Afghanistan. And what do you know? He's helping his brother, Ryan Campbell.
Yeah, Jai Courtney sighting. Talk about a guy that just kind of hangs around Hollywood, man. That's another one who kind of got some high profile stuff that flopped, and then he just kind of has hung around, and I didn't even know he was in this. And there's a pretty damn good reason why I didn't know that, Brandon. We're going to get to here in a second.
Another member of the DC universe too, Captain Boomerang, Jai Courtney.
Right.
And wasn't he John McClane's son? Was that like his first big?
That was like, he had done he did like a smaller like action movie before that kind of punched over its weight class. I can't remember what it was. And that was kind of
he was in those Divergent movies.
Yeah, I thought there was even one more before that.
What was it? Oh, no, you know what? Actually, we're talking about Alan Ritchson being Reacher.
Yeah,
Jai Courtney was in the Jack Reacher movie.
He was, but there was another one. Give me 1 second. I'm going to scroll real quick. I'm not going to take up too much time. I'm taking too much time. There was another one before there that he got that was like not like an enemy. Like anyway, I digress. But yes, Good Day to Die Hard was supposed to be kind of like, okay, here's one of the big tentpole franchises that you're going to take over.
Torch is being passed from the man himself.
It flopped. He got another chance a few years later with the Terminator franchise. Mm-hmm. That one flopped.
That's right.
Yeah, and the Divergent was in the middle of that he wasn't like the main title thing of it. Those kind of were middling. So had a bad streak. Suicide Squad was right after Terminator, the first one, which was pretty terrible. So yeah,
that Liam Neeson movie too. What was it? Honest Thief.
He
was like the corrupt cop or whatever in that one.
Interesting.
but yeah, got a lot of chances, and they didn't quite work out. But he just keeps handing around. A lot of the roles have been smaller, but he does just keep handing around, and I was surprised to see him. But he didn't stick around for long.
No, if you were not a Jai Courtney fan, don't worry about it, folks. He's not going to affect your enjoyment of this film because, his convoy is broken down.
Minor spoilers. We'll try to keep relative spoiler free, but we got to talk about some stuff.
Yeah,
You're here for a podcast.
Or we'll be done in 2 more minutes.
Yeah.
His convoy is broken down. He's like the squad leader, and they call in a guy, the engineer, to help them with this. And lo and behold, it's his older brother, his big brother, literally, Alan Ritchson, and busts his balls about using Stop Leak. Stop Leak gets plenty of mentions in this film. Perhaps they donated some money. I don't know.
Maybe they did.
But yeah, they're there. They're doing it. Okay, they start talking Toyman about. They start talking in, may I say, a raspy rasp fashion.
Raspy rash, is that the technical term?
Yeah, well,
it's the military term.
Onyx told me it was.
Don't go for the AI. Come on, we know how the Terminator starts.
Toyman, you don't want to acknowledge Onyx?
Do you want to slam?
Yeah, they do that in raspy rasp fashion. But yeah, RASP, Ranger Assessment Select Program, or Selection Program. Excuse me. I guess these brothers once dreamed of being Army Rangers, but obviously things went in another direction. But hey, we still got time. Let's do it.
Yeah, they got matching tattoos that say, don't fucking quit. Like so clearly they're close enough in age that they talked about this and had dreams and kind of probably enlisted around the same time and have kind of come up through the Army together. And it seems like they've kind of, Ritchson, I'm going to say his name wrong, a few times, mentions how he's on the older side. We never get his age, but like they definitely pitch it as it's kind of past his prime. But yeah, he kind of talks him into it, and that they're gonna go and start this grueling procedure together.
And then the convoy is attacked. And
if you looked in the background, I think Tony Stark also was in this attack.
Oh boy, wow. Well, and
it's a bad day to be in Afghanistan.
The only one to survive it is our man Alan Ritchson. And now
not unscathed.
Not unscathed, no, because we pick up things 2 years later. We see that he has a bum knee as he's on the bus on the way to the Ranger training base in Colorado, also popping pain pills. So yeah, he's not. And again, as they pointed out 2 years prior, Ryan Campbell, he was, a little bit on the other side of the, out of his prime, perhaps just exiting his prime. So, it takes longer. The older you get, the more.
Yeah. It's like some of these people, like, we to make references to wrestling like we do often. It's like an LA Knight or even a Batista that kind of got into the game much later. Maybe not got into the game because LA Knight was doing it for years, but kept pushing it and going for the big leagues, like doing the hard thing that a lot of especially nowadays when they're getting people out of college that did, track and field or whatever, right, and training them up. For a guy that's been like a worker or a journeyman for 20 years or whatever to try to get into it's really hard to do, but he's going for it.
Right. You got guys like Javon Evans who wasn't even born.
Right.
Some of this stuff has started happening for people. Yeah. So yeah.
We should note that the opening scene too, it kind of segues into what we'll learn about him. Not only is he physically hurt, but we think it's affected him mentally as well, because that whole prologue was basically a flashback, like a nightmare in his head on the bus.
Right. Yeah. So he has a little PTSD over that, and understandably so. I mean, he lost his brother that day. And, but to honor what he and his brother were going to do, he has been trying to become a Ranger. We find out he's done this before. As soon as he was able to try it, he was doing it. But this is basically feels like this is it. This is his last chance of making it. If he doesn't do it, then he's going to be aged out. And so this is a must-win situation for him, Ryan Campbell.
Yep. Clutch time. Burn the bridges or not burn the bridges, burn the boats. No retreat. It's do or die.
No
time.
surrender.
Yeah, no surrender.
Okay.
Nice.
We've got some a little extra star power in the leadership here at the Ranger Training Base, Toyman.
Yeah, at first I thought I was watching La Bamba.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, La Bamba.
But we were not looking for Richie Valens. We did see Mr. Morales there, and we would soon also see another very famous face. One of my actual favorite actors, Dennis Quaid, who it's always good to see Dennis Quaid pop up. You're usually guaranteed for a good time when it's a Dennis Quaid film.
Yeah, that G.I. Joe movie, not maybe be the exception.
Well, maybe
but,
not that.
Right. But yeah.
Frequency is one of my favorite movies. I love that movie.
All right. Do you watch it frequently?
I do watch it somewhat frequently. I also was a big fan of the TV show.
What's the frequency that you watch frequency?
You know what? I'm not an REM fan, but I'm going to make a "What's the Frequency" Kenneth reaction to you right there. We'll keep with our '90s music vibe.
What a run by Dennis Quaid. These are just some of the movies he's done recently. He did The Substance, which is like a body horror, like gross out film, immediately followed by playing Ronald Reagan. Then we got some other stuff. Now he's in War Machine, which is a gritty, dropping F-bombs action movie. Following that up next with the Christian movie I Can Only Imagine too. So this dude is diversifying that portfolio, I will say.
Versatile.
That's
a
right.
utility player.
That is right.
Plug him in wherever you need him. Dennis Quaid is going to deliver. Yeah. So, they greet the recruits or the hopefuls.
Well, he's also joined by Esai Morales, who's been doing a lot of stuff.
We
recently.
mentioned that La Bamba. That's where La Bamba came in.
Oh, okay. I didn't pick up on
before. Well, it was not before your time, but you weren't coherent. Yeah, he was also an NYPD Blue, was he not? Wasn't he one of the many lieutenants?
I don't know. I know we keep making DC connections, and he was on Titans as Deathstroke, so he did that, and then he was also in the Mission Impossible, the last two.
Oh yes, he was. I mentioned that in my review. That's right, folks. I did a written review of this. If you just can't get enough of my thoughts on the War Machine,
you need a little more.
I don't remember him on NYPD Blue.
I might be making that up.
Are you thinking of like Jimmy Smits?
Wait. No, Jimmy Smits was on there.
I know Jimmy Smits. He was I feel like he was one of the lieutenants.
Was he?
He was on Blue Bloods, Chicago PD, NCIS Los Angeles. So he's done a lot of cop shows.
I'm trying to think. It's been a long time since I watched NYPD Blue.
Law and Order SVU.
Yes, Lieutenant Tony Rodriguez.
He was on it towards the end when Mark Paul Gosselaar was on.
66 episodes, so I'm not crazy. All right.
Burn Notice. He's on Burn Notice.
He is a legend.
We need to do an essential episodes of Burn Notice.
Well, start watching.
Love you some Burn Notice.
Start watching them, and do it. Or you want me to do it?
Oh yeah, that was your show.
I didn't make that show, but I enjoyed it. I wish I made that show. I'd probably have some kind of residuals coming in from somewhere. I don't know where. But yeah, now the movie kind of gets into an action movie thing. If you're an action movie lover, you probably love yourself a good training montage. And that's basically what we get now for the next chunk of this movie. We get to see these would-be rangers going through all sorts of obstacle courses, diving in the pool. They're doing all this stuff. I would have tapped out. Well, I wouldn't have even gotten on the bus. So a great training montage.
Yeah, those buses have really bad seats with bad support. My back would have been hurting after I got off the bus, probably.
Right.
But Brain, what I really liked about this training montage had a little bit of a twist. Okay. Usually our training montages are focused on like our character, like progressing and like developing towards like the end scenario. That's like the training montage builds towards the ready moment. A little bit of a twist here is he's actually kind of failing throughout the montage, because you'll notice that like they try to give him like a leadership role and he turns it down. Right. The montage is him constantly like he's just succeeding at everything, but he's isolated himself more and more from his team. He's not interacting with them. He's leaving them behind. So like, there's almost a little bit of a twist that your brain is seeing him succeed at all these things, but he's not succeeding at, being a ranger and a team player.
Right. And in case you don't pick up on that, he's called into the office and they're like, you've passed everything. And that's what he's like. Well, I've passed everything with flying colors. Every physical challenge, I've done it. And they're like, yeah, but you're not part of the team. You got to be a team. So they're like, here, sign this paper, just voluntarily quit. Because they had no cause to just get rid of him. They couldn't cut him because he was doing everything he was supposed to do.
Right, if they cut the highest performing guy.
So they're like, sign this paper, just leave. Because you're not doing it. And again, obviously, Toyman, a lot of this is because of that PTSD of what happened to his brother. And he's hiding in himself.
Yeah, he doesn't want to form the bond, form the attachment. Obviously, being in any form of military service, you kind of look at these people like your brothers and your sisters. You got to watch out for them. And he's almost kind of, like you said, isolating himself, not letting himself fall into the team trap, I guess. Like, he's doing this for himself and he doesn't want to make friends and then risk the fact that if something happens to them, he's going to kind of, redo the cycle again.
Exactly.
There's also just the fact that he clearly has not mentally,
Right. He didn't take time to grieve. He went right into doing this.
Yeah. Like the next day he signed up for RASP after after they put his brother in a box.
Right. So, yeah. Not good. Not, you need to take the time, people, to heal.
Yeah. Care about your mental health. Mental health is personal health.
Indeed.
If you take nothing away from this podcast, that should be it.
Yeah. I mean, if people are voluntarily listening to this podcast,
they might have some mental health.
Some people in their family may
on our audience.
Some people may be questioning their mental health, but they may be like, "Listen, I'm enjoying myself. I'm living my life, and I'm listening to these three.
We love you all.
We do.
Yeah, maybe we're the entertainment that some people need. They've had a rough week and they like listening to us wax nostalgic about silly action movies.
That makes me more depressed.
Maybe someone's favorite episode is the Missing in Action 2 episode.
There you go.
They're like, yeah, I've been wanting to say that for years. I'm glad Ryan Campbell
I speak for the people, Brain.
Yeah, okay. I'm not messing with Chuck Norris. I don't care how damn old he is. So yeah, now the final part of this whole thing, this is where they really determine who's going and who's not, is the final test called the Death March.
I didn't look it up. I don't know if either of you did. Is that a real thing?
I don't know. I did not look it up.
I'm not sure.
Does Ranger camp end in I could see some
again, this would be another reason that Chad Cruz would have been perfect for this episode, because he probably knows, or he would at least make some shit up like he did know.
Yeah.
He's the one with the military service background.
And he really could have brought some value to this podcast.
He could. He could. There's a lot of things Chad Cruz could do.
But this is so I don't know if we mentioned the base is based in the mountains of Colorado. So naturally this final death march will be like in the Colorado wilderness on their own for days at a time. So really out there in the shit to try to complete this.
And what a smart place to put, because that high altitude training, if you can do it in that kind of altitude.
Oh yeah. Cool nights and
you're
challenges and
you get your wind, you got that high altitude wind. You're a stamina beast. So yeah, but now the twist, because our leaders are like, okay, that bastard didn't want to sign the paper. He didn't want to be a team player. Well, he's going to have to now because we're putting him in charge of this mission. And basically the mission is you've got to, I think they have 48 hours to find a experimental plane that has crashed behind enemy lines, rescue the pilot, or destroy the experimental aircraft so the bad guys can't research it and figure it out and make one of their own, then go rescue the pilot, then get the hell out of there and make it back.
They also have to go to go to the village to get the pilot. There's a village nearby where the pilot's been captured. Exactly. So they got to blow up the plane, go to the village, and make it back. And they got to cross the big thing, Brain. They got to cross the finish line.
Cross the finish line.
It's a big old banner right across the base floor. They got to cross that line.
So there you go. I mean, And this right here, and I said this in my review, if this was the movie, like this was just a straight up like drama action type movie where, okay, this guy lost his brother. Now he's doing this for his brother. But since he did not take the time to grieve, he's having these issues. Like just that, him having to kind of become this team leader and gel with this team that is obviously like this, you know, they don't want to follow this guy because he's not been a part of this whole thing.
They all kind of are like upset that like this probably puts their ability to pass in jeopardy, that they got this dude's leading them now.
So it's like that alone would have been a good movie. Like, okay. And then, you know, obviously at the end they all come together and yay, it's a nice, happy movie. But War Machine said, no, fuck that. Fuck that. We're not doing that happy shit because
it pretty much is that movie until they're at the mess hall and over one's shoulder they're talking about an asteroid nearby.
They're in the mess hall. They're in line getting their food and the TV's on about
this is what I bring to the podcast. I don't know about the military stuff, but that's actually based on like 2 different asteroids that we're tracking right now in Brain that are not shaped like typical asteroids. They look like space turds, kind of like in the movie here. They're like really long. They've given them unique names, and we keep scanning them when we can because.
What are the names? Poop.
Pretty much, they have. I don't know what the exact names are in front of. I don't have it in front of me, but they are like shaped really weird, and they almost look like a ship, but like they're just like some sort of organic thing, and where we keep tracking them and the way that they're moving. So not entirely. It's kind of based on a real thing. So
what you're saying is this is autobiographical.
It's future graphical.
Future biographical.
Yeah, there you go.
One has to. Maybe this was like 2 different movies. They're
like they had two. They had
a script for this dramatic military movie, and then they had this script for this asteroid movie that's really a spaceship. And
if it was originally a military drama, we're about to take a wide left turn.
That's what I'm saying. So they had this military drama, and then they had this poop asteroid spaceship movie. And they're like, well, I kind of like stuff from this one, and I kind of like stuff from that one. Let's just merge them together. Let's put the poop on top of the drama. And they see this spaceship, and they're thinking, wow, they really went all out to make this thing look like some kind of futuristic, experimental, top secret spaceship. So they're doing what they're supposed to do. They're going to blow the damn thing up. And this is where this spaceship, Toyman, is more than meets the eye.
I see what you did there, because the spaceship is not just a spaceship, but it is, to your point, very Transformer-esque, not into a full-fledged robot. It is kind of like a crude design, like the top was kind of flat. It almost looked more like
I'll tell you exactly what it looked like. And Brain, this is going to play into next week as well, but it looked like a Metal Gear. For those of you out there that have played Metal Gear Solid franchise, it looked very much like a Metal Gear.
And it also goes back to it looking like a solid piece of poop when it was in the sky.
Do you think Metal Gear is poop? I don't know what
Metal Gear solid.
Yeah.
Oh, solid. Yeah. Okay. I get where you're going.
Well, if it was Metal Gear Liquid Brain, you'd be in trouble.
Wouldn't we all?
But we're going to be playing with some Metal Gear next week too. So.
In a sense. But yeah, so we get this thing's a robot. And now this is where this movie just completely like fuck your military drama, because it's just chaos and carnage.
If Optimus Prime and Predator had a baby, they'd be War Machine.
Oh, there you go.
Oh,
with a little bit of Lone Survivor, to come back to Mark Wahlberg.
The
Mark Wahlberg movie.
Yeah. There was a bit, and as we go on, there was I felt a little Independence Day at times.
Yeah, I thought he had his Welcome to Earth moment. It didn't quite happen, but I thought that's where we were going.
A little Independence Day in there, but and we get the thing. We should also mention that
Battle LA. If anyone's seen Battle LA, some of that in there
Battle
too.
Los Angeles,
all the people in this movie just have a number. Richson's 81, and everyone just assigned a number because you're just a number here at the Ranger training base.
And the movie sticks to it. None of them, we don't get a name, even in the credits. They're all 81, 15. Like they don't ever tell each other their names. They don't say them in private. Like when they're all about to die, they don't all share what their real names.
Bonding moment, like, hey, my name is Larry, or anything like that. They just kind of stick to it.
Because they haven't completed they all, like throughout all of this, they're all still kind of dedicated to completing the mission. So they keep their numbers, and that's part of the kind of cool that the movie decided to do that.
I bet you if it was just the thing and then it would have ended, they would have all gathered around, and one of them would have been named Francis, and he'd be like, if you touch me, I'll kill you. If you touch my stuff, I'll kill you. And then somebody would invariably say, lighten up, Francis. True or false? Anyone?
I'm going to vote true.
Thank you, Toyman. But yeah.
Always count on me.
Well, let's not go too far. You know what I'm thinking now, and maybe we should get these numbers of the people and play the lottery.
I got some of them right here in IMDb, but
15 and 44, I remember. 7,
23. 23 was one.
Okay.
109.
81 is Alan Ritchson, yeah.
60 was on the team.
Mm-hmm.
Some of these people didn't make the cut. I'm trying to look at the ones that I think actually did. 111, I think, was on the team.
Yeah, some of them die instantly, so we don't.
Yeah, and some of them were in other scenes that got kicked out, didn't make it to the final cut. So some of them were that. Right. 57, I think, was the radio guy that got killed, or one of the first guys that dies.
Yeah,
you already said
shot through the chest and the radio.
Yeah, and they're trying to save him, and he ends up dying. 7 is the one though that was the leader that was.
That's who right. He was the one who they offered the leadership role, took it, and he was the natural leader.
Right at the last second,
and he helps. But he still, instead of making like a grudge of it, he's there to kind of help out. Like, hey, I'm basically making himself second in command, and you need to talk to these people like a leader, and we have that moment. And he's one of the best characters in there. You got 15, who's kind of the wild card. The wise
he's
ass.
like the conspiracy-minded kind of quirky one.
We got 44, the tough chick.
Yep, I think 109 is like the spaz.
He was like the chicken shit.
Yeah, he's just constantly this is too much for me kind of thing.
Right. I wonder why he would even go for something like this. But.
Right. Yeah, and while we're on it, maybe a small little gripe I had with the movie. Is that we're pitching it as this is the most elite of the elite,
right.
The hardest training anyone ever has received in the army. To even get through this is the most badass people that exist on this planet Earth. And these are the people that made it through that. They whittled down hundreds of applicants to this final 12 or so, whatever, to do the death march. And we're seeing them now all kind of, and I get there's an alien, mech that's chasing them, but they all just kind of are wide-eyed, acting like they've never seen, anything before. And they're all just oh, the entire time. And it's would they really have made it this far in the training process if they were this spazzed out all the time? So just a small gripe. But
I think one of the best scenes in the movie for them, as far as a team, was trying to cross the river.
Yes,
that whole scene with the zip line and everything like that. I mean, just to kind of get to your point, the character traits across and the team bonding, and it's okay, they're not giving each other names or whatever, but Ritchson is Ritchson 81 is kind of stepping up and doing what he needs to do, and then you've got that danger of the mech looming around. I thought that was probably the best scene in the movie as far as action and tension.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, and that's where you see okay, maybe there's personal issues, personal feelings, but man, when it comes down to it, when the rubber hits the road, as they say, their training kicks in and they're on it. But obviously, who could train for a giant freaking robot coming after you? Somebody heard you say that, Ryan Campbell, and they're screaming, I'd like to see what he would do if a giant fucking robot came after him. He'd be shitting his pants.
Probably, but I wouldn't have gone and I'm not in the Army. I wouldn't be in Ranger training. So there you go.
What about Power Ranger training? You probably tried.
Ooh, I would sign up for that. Yeah, that would have been cool.
Yeah.
I did that. I did that every day because my mom is a seamstress. So she would have those like cardboard, like 3 foot long things that fabric came wrapped in. If anybody ever goes to like the fabric store, and it comes in these like, so when she would be done with them, there would just be these like 4 foot. They're not even tubes. They're actually like a plank, like a 4 foot wide plank. Right. You know, it's maybe like 8 inches wide and about 4 inches long. So those were like my putties. And I would just be like, breaking them and so I did have a little bit of Ranger training growing up.
Thank you for sharing.
We would do our White Ranger, Ichika. That's what Tommy would always do.
Thank you for sharing some Ryan Campbell lore with everyone.
Yep. It's important people know this about me.
On this episode of the Bulletproof Podcast. So yeah, you know, I would agree. The other one is where they get like the truck and they got to get the truck going.
Oh, Brian, this movie kicked into high gear when they got to that damn truck.
Yeah. It was good.
That like, I don't know if you want to call it the finale. It's not, I guess I wouldn't say it's the finale, but like the chase between the mech and them in the truck.
It's probably like the Act 2 finale.
I would say that, yeah. But that thing was balls of the walls, man. The camera work of cutting through the truck and then outside the truck, and then the shit's getting blown off of it. People are falling out. Like that's a hell of a scene there. Hell of a sequence.
It was very G.I. Joe to me. Like, again, I say so many times, there's so many elements of these movies. Like
all the tools are there. We've made 15 G.I. Joe movies without them being G.I. Joe movies.
Right. Like, but other movies are being, you listen, I know they're making another one. I know there's plans right now to make another one.
You could do an article on the best. You could do an article on the best G.I. Joe movies that aren't G.I. Joe movies.
I could. And I've actually heard, and I don't, again, this is the internet, so it could be complete bullshit, but they're like, you need to make the next movie like the fucking cartoon was in the 80s. Yes. And if you watch those, and I've watched them many times, Toyman, I know you've watched them.
Absolutely.
They don't have 950 people in every episode. You have to just pick who the fuck you're going to pick, and that's going to be the Joe team for that.
You need your core.
And again, and I even think I said it a while back. You know what? If you don't, I would almost not put somebody like Snake Eyes in that first one. Make people want and wait for him to come back. Put some other people in there. Do something fucking different, but keep it simple, and you'll find yourself having a very good movie.
There does seem to be a shift in Hollywood towards almost a much more strict adherence to what people remember most about these things. So Transformers kind of did a little bit with like the Beast Wars one, and that went well. The big one though that really turned things around was Sonic. When they released that first Sonic trailer and people saw that design and lost their shit, and to the credit of the creators, they paused it, delayed the movie, went back, and they pretty much were like, you want what shit you saw in Sega? Here, that's what you're going to get. And every single character in that movie looks carbon copy what they were like what you envision. And all three of them have been huge success. So like that, and people have taken note. They've already like canceled the plans they had for the next Turtles movies. And the plan is to do a strictly like make them look like how they looked in the 80s or in the cartoon.
Right.
There's some, I can't think of at the moment, but He-Man, we talked about He-Man when we broke that down. Like there is a push to just make the shit look like the shit that the people with the money to buy the shit liked. It's like, seems to be the goal. So you might
don't reinvent the wheel.
Right. And there's enough people that were fans of it as kids that now are old enough to be in roles of directors and creators that they want to do that. Like, 15 years ago, everyone wanted to deconstruct,
right?
Like, oh, I'll make the Transformers movie, but my kids like that, I'm going to deconstruct it. Well, now we're to the point to where those kids that liked it are the ones that are creating it. And they're like, no, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it right, and I'm going to pay respect to it. So we'll see.
Right. You can argue that's what James Gunn did with Superman.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You
Yeah.
know, like he's like,
He-
no,
he
we're going to make
remembers what he liked, and he's like, I'm going to make it like that
Yeah.
for a new generation. I'm going to
And
give
now
it.
I know the Snyder Bros aren't fans of it, but yeah, that's
That's kind of what, it like you say this all the time, Brain. What worked before will work again. Like what hooked all of us as kids will hook the next generation of kids.
Yep.
Plus, we like the nostalgic push those
Right.
buttons.
You're going to
slow.
get the nostalgia people. You're going to get I grew up with this. I'm going to take my kids to see it, and hopefully they'll get into it.
My kids freaking love those Sonic movies. We go every day. They always look forward to
Great
it.
movies. I've taken Zach to see all.
Yeah, they're all good. I enjoy them, and they love after it, like staying for the post credits to see what character they're going to add to the next one, and when the trailers come out, like they freaking love that shit. And yeah, it is right in that wheelhouse, and those are really good movies.
And I mean, to Brain's point about G.I. Joe, like, putting Snake Eyes in there is obviously like a marketing tool because he is kind of like the most notable character. And obviously we love ninjas around here. So of course you want to have a ninja, but you could always build up to him. Like you could do, if you want a guy that's not just a soldier like Duke or Flint or whatever, you could do someone like Beachhead,
Right.
who has a distinct look,
I'm going to say,
and put them in there, or put Chuckles in there with his Hawaiian shirt and have him be like the undercover agent.
give me
Like
Quick
you could
Kick.
have quirky characters.
Give me Quick Kick.
Yeah.
All you
Quick
got to do is not show Snake Eyes, make it a
Or
fun
put
movie,
him in the
and put him
mid-credit.
put him in the post credit scene, and people will lose their fucking minds.
Like, yeah, you do something. You have this whole fucking movie, mid credits, cut to Japan. It's fucking Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes doing some little quick thing. Like you see one of them and then you see the other one, and it's like, oh shit, boom, and
boom.
finish.
And
the
hopefully
credits.
it's been successful, so your second one can be bigger, more money, better, and that's when you bring in your big guns. And then by the third, and that's how you do
it's
it.
like Marvel starting with Iron Man. Like, who the fuck cared about Iron Man before that was a movie?
No one did. Like as a kid that grew up in the 90s, it was Spider-Man and X-Men.
Yep.
No one gave a shit about Iron Man.
You had a whole.
And everyone out there that says you did, bullshit. None of us did.
I mean,
to be fair, I did subscribe to Iron Man. I subscribed to a lot of the Marvel comics when I was younger, and I was fan of a lot of the characters that were B-listers.
Sure.
Like
I
I
mean,
loved
yeah,
Moon Knight as a
everybody
kid. But
had-
Iron Man, like a lot of these Iron Man, Hawkeye, a lot of these characters that they've built up were second stringers. Because,
Right.
like you said, it was Spider-Man, Hulk. I mean, the Fantastic Four was always
even
bigger than
Captain
Iron Man.
America, we all thought
Captain
was just
America.
kind of was whatever. Like it was X-Men and Spider-Man for us 90s kids. Those were the, and you can look at
But then,
the
yeah,
Fox
once
shows.
you got onto that Venom, Carnage, and then the animated series obviously helped boost them.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, for me, growing up, even prior to that, it was Spider-Man and Hulk. And yeah, I knew of the other. I knew of Thor and Iron Man. Cap. I knew, but to me, and again, part of that was because there was a Spider-Man TV show. There was a whole TV show. There was cartoon. There was Spider-Man and Friends on the, Saturday morning.
Yep.
So yeah, again, and yeah, there definitely, as to Toyman's point, he's definitely more of a hardcore comic fan, so he knew all these characters and followed them more. But just that general, like, mainstream level people that, yeah, I like Spider-Man, but yeah, do I know every freaking little thing about him? No, but I know the shows.
Yep.
So yeah, listen, we're helping you, Paramount. You apparently don't need much help to acquire things, but maybe you need some help here. But yeah,
these movies might never get made because they're already hundreds of millions of dollars in debt and they're about to be even more.
But yeah, this isn't the business talk, or maybe it is. But yeah, so there we go. We get that, and as I said, that truck scene is kind of the end of Act 2, and then we get the finale, and that's where it really became Predator-like to me.
Yeah.
He's
out of guns, he's out of bombs, he's kind of left to his ingenuity and the environment around him to beat this threat. So yeah, I could see that.
And again, they establish early on he's like a mechanic engineer type, so he has knowledge of how things work and stuff like that. So it's perfect that he now has a machine. Normally he's trying to make machines work. This time he's got to try to make a machine not work.
They didn't have live ammo. They established that too. Like they had like their grenades or whatever, but the guns and stuff like that.
Right, because it was a training exercise. They weren't going to, they don't kill the people who are playing the bad guys in this, because they're really not bad guys. They weren't really in hostile territory. This was all a simulation. So yeah.
To backtrack a little bit to that, though, there was a pretty clever trick the movie did, is that the mission being to track down a experimental piece of aircraft or whatever that they have to destroy. So when they first come across the crashed alien the ship, they assume that's the thing.
Right. Yeah. And they're like, wow, they put a lot of money.
They must have got James Cameron to do this thing. Holy shit.
And yeah, and then when it obviously then when the thing is actually trying to kill them, that's where our boy 15 is like, oh, he's starting his conspiracies again. So
turns out he was right the entire time.
No, don't encourage
15.
Don't encourage 15 or other conspiracy people. Like, it's a matter of time. I'm going to be proven right. But yeah, so there you go, folks. So yeah, we get the big finale. We won't spoil any of that for you. You may be able to figure out how that's. But honestly, it surprised me, even when it was like, okay, I see how this is going to play out, and then you find out, oh, that was only part of what's been going on. So,
and a nice little twist at the end of like what the title War Machine, who it's really referring to. I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah. So. Again, this was we talked about the Rip earlier this year from Netflix. This was another win for Netflix. Again, I don't know that this was one that I would probably revisit anytime soon. Maybe not ever, but for a one-time watch, this is a pretty fun time, a fun ride. What say you, Ryan Campbell?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the question, the way we always kind of pitch these movies is, how would I have felt if I had gone to the theater and paid $40 in ticket and popcorn to watch it? And I think I still would have left entertained. Yeah. I might have been like, it was maybe a little bit more Netflixy and then theatery, especially some of the supporting cast are a little, like, don't deliver the best performances. But as I think I would have been okay spending money in a theater on it. I would have been like, oh, that was good, and went home and wrote the review. But for the Netflix part, I thought it was really good. That the action was really good. The effects were really good. Alan Ritchson himself, it plays the character that you expect him to do, but plays it really well. The drama bits and like the kind of character part of it, I thought was really cool. The way that the movie doesn't really even introduce the threat of the machine till, we're probably a good 45 minutes into the movie before we really see it. So it doesn't just, think it's this spectacle movie. It really does focus on the character work and the drama, which I think ends up being a satisfying payoff. So I thought it was really good. Definitely, if you got your Netflix subscription, it's definitely worth a watch. I don't know if I would tell you to go out and get a Netflix subscription to watch it, but it was really good. And more, please. We've talked about this. I think every time we do a movie like this, that's a newer release, this should be the golden age of action movies because of this. You got 50 different streaming services. They're all competing with each other, and they're all trying to find an edge of how they can have content on their site to keep you from unsubscribing every month, because we're all tight on money. None of us want to pay for 15 services. So they have to give us something to keep paying that $15-20 a month for Netflix. So we should be getting shit like this every month from just about every streaming service. So more, please. But it was really good.
And I know before we went on the air, you had mentioned it was missing a musical element.
Yes. It was right there. We got the War Machine. It needed that textbook or that song. But again, maybe that was just too expensive to get the rights to War Machine. But it was missing a little bit, something like that.
Yeah. Again, if you were just a person who walked in the room, like maybe you turned it on and your significant other walks in the room, they're going to think you're watching some sort of military drama for the beginning of the film. And then, like you said, about 45 minutes in, screw that. We're off to the races. Toyman, your thoughts?
Me, and Ryan kind of made the point when he said it felt a little more Netflixy than a theatrical release. It felt like the pilot episode of a TV show. It felt like
Mm,
this was kind of like getting all the establishment taken care of. Like, here's 81, here's what he went through, here's the big bad, or here's the situation. So, while we do get some action and, we don't see the mech, come alive until about halfway through. And then with the way that everything ends, where it's kind of some unfinished business, we'll say, like it kind of leaves some doors open. It felt like this would have been better off as a TV series instead of a series of movies. To that point, it goes by very quickly. It's never boring. So even the dramatic elements do tend to not take up too much time or bog the film down. But it feels like there's a good idea here. It just wasn't totally fleshed out in this one. I didn't hate watching it, but to your point, it's not one that I'm going to be like, oh my God, I definitely got to tell all my friends and family to go and watch this one right away. It's just kind of like, hey, did you see that movie War Machine? Yeah, it was okay. Yeah, we talked about it on the podcast. You should check it out if you want to, but this wouldn't, shoot to the top of my list of recommendations.
yeah.
I'd put it solidly in the middle.
Yeah, it's not Mexicali. You got to see that. Now let's know what this would be good, Toyman. You when you were talking there, a thought popped into my head. This would be like a modern day V. Like if
Yes,
it was like a
good
mini
point, yeah.
series on something, like where it was like this was like episode 1, and like maybe there was 2 more episodes to flesh the whole thing out.
That would have been a big budget for a TV series, though. Just thinking about especially some of the location shots, like you guys talked about the river scene and just how well shot and framed. Like I don't know. It'd been hard to do it. Like I think on a series budget.
Well, that's what I'm saying. A mini series, like the V,
Yeah.
which is like what, a 2-3 part. I think it may have just been a 2-parter. Maybe it was 3. I don't remember. But yeah, that was a huge thing for NBC, and that had to have a big. That was a big deal, and especially nowadays. I'm talking like, obviously, it would be Netflix could freaking afford it, or Prime or HBO Max or whatever, what have you. But
Yeah, I mean, like we talked about Monarch earlier. Like, now granted, they have a little bit of a, because they're pulling from the MonsterVerse genre, I'm sure they get a bigger budget. But what that show is, I mentioned this in my review for this past week's episode. Excuse me. What that show is able to pull off production value wise for what is a quote unquote TV show is frankly insane. So, I mean, we're definitely at a time where the barrier to entry has come down. I just don't know if like a new IP not built off something else would be able to get the budget to do it. But to that point, do you guys think we get more? Do we think we get sequels?
I think we get more. I have a feeling they've already got part 2 in their back pocket.
It wouldn't surprise me. Just the way, I mean, it ends perfectly for a continuation. So I guess we'll see. And yeah, again, folks, you could be among the first to read Ryan Campbell's coverage of Monarch season 2. Go over to bulletproofaction.com. All right. Do we have anything else we want to say? We spoiled some stuff, but not everything. Check it out again. If you have Netflix, you should certainly check it out. If you don't,
yeah, I mean, if you're listening to this, you're probably an action fan, and if you have Netflix, yeah, definitely worth.
As long as you're not Chad Cruz and don't hate Alan Ritchson for reasons that we will one day find out. We will grill him on this very show whenever he can grace us with his presence. But yeah, we'll do that. Maybe. I don't know. Here's what I do know,
possibly
folks.
You.
Right. We put White out on a B as well. We'll see what we'll give you what tell you what happens after the things happen. All right. Social media, folks. I'm going to talk about it at Bulletproof Pod on X and Blue Sky, at Bulletproof Action on Instagram and Facebook. You could email us at bulletproofaction@gmail.com. And we're on Letterboxd as well, Bulletproof Pod there. And you could also follow my personal Letterboxd, Chris the Brain. Gentlemen, next week, right here on the Bulletproof Podcast, we are going to be talking about a movie that has recently popped back up on one of our favorite streaming services, Tubi. It's Snake Eater 2, The Drug Buster. Toyman, you and I talked about this movie all the way back on episode 99, the original movie I'm talking. all the way back, episode 99. So I think we're more than due to talk about the sequel, don't you?
Lorenzo Lamas is certainly due for a return. You and I will bring him up in, private conversation when we're scrolling, or, hey, I'm going to watch Renegade today or whatever. And it is amazing how much time has gone by since we first got on the Snake Eater train and talked about the first one. And, if we're covering part 2 next week at some point later in the year, we might have to do the trifecta and complete the trilogy.
No, that's 100 episodes later. We do 3.
Yeah, it won't be until almost episode 300.
But to all my Metal Gear Solid fans, that's what I was talking about. When I hear Snake Eater, that's what I think of. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Well, you'll know next week.
You'll know. I know this is going to be a first timer for you, Ryan Campbell.
It will be, yes.
And you don't have to watch the original to pick up with here, but you can.
I did not plan on it.
I didn't think you would, but you'll be fine.
You don't want to go all the way into the Snake Eater lore?
Yeah, all 3 of them are kind of just their own animal.
I'm sure I'll be able to figure it out.
It's
well, actually, Brain, Snake Eater 3 might be a good one for WrestleMania season, because
our April is booked.
One-time favorite.
Our April is booked, dog. Mm-mm.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, then
That's also Brain birthday month, so he's.
I've already had my Wacky for Jackie week in April destroyed. I'm not having my goddamn April podcast schedule destroyed, because I'm going to tell you about one of the big things happening. April 14th, that would be the week before WrestleMania this year, or the Tuesday before WrestleMania. That is episode 200. I talked about it a while back. I'm going to remind everybody, episode 200, April 14th. We are talking about the original 1974's Death Wish, starring the one and the only Charles Bronson. So
that's a big one, Brain.
That one's coming up. And
is WrestleMania on Easter again this year?
No, it is not.
Good.
No, Easter's early this year.
That was some bullshit last year.
It's 2 weeks after Easter this year.
Okay, good deal.
So no double bookings and trying to jam everything into one weekend. It's its own thing. So that is coming up April 14th, episode 200, Death Wish. Next week, it's Snake Eater 2, The Drug Buster. Again, bulletproofaction.com. All of us have stuff going on over there, as we mentioned at the top of the show. Anything else you want to talk about, Toyman, before we wrap up this week's episode?
No, just circling back to what I said earlier, stay tuned for a new No Surrender Cinema coming out this week. We're going to talk about what's discussed in the No Retreat, No Surrender documentary, and then there'll be another NSC later in the month that will get hyped on future episodes of the podcast.
That's right. Ryan Campbell will be busy writing something nobody reads, and then Invincible, which everybody reads.
Yep, and YouTube channel, of course. Head on over to that. If you're not already listening to this on the YouTube channel, go over there. If you are listening to this on the YouTube channel, why don't you hit that like and subscribe? We definitely appreciate it.
Oh, wow, that was you just slid right in there with that. I would also, I'll remind as we get closer, but I did recently record another episode of the Direct-to-Video Connoisseur podcast, where we talked a little Dolph Lundgren, but that's not coming out till April. So I will certainly remind you as we get closer to that.
You just wanted to brag because you're just so in high
demand. I just wanted to shout out our boy Matt over there at the DTBC pod, because he listens. He listens to this show every week.
We appreciate him.
We appreciate him indeed. So, and I appreciate the invite and talking about and yeah, I'll get into it. It's out of control. That one was a bit out of control, but that's how it goes sometimes. All right, folks, let's get back in control, because we're going to wrap this up. I want to thank all of you for listening. And as always, stay tuned for more of the Bulletproof Podcast.